What's happening, folks? Welcome to Hunting with Tripler. Sweet new haircut. I used an unusual source to find items for my reselling business, and you know what? It actually paid off. So we're gonna talk about it, and you're gonna see me spend over $600 for a whole bunch of items that most of you would probably pass up on. You do not want to miss this one.
I collect so many things. Would you like to share this journey with me? I will show you the prizes I got today. So come along with me, come on and join in the chase. Yeah!
Alright folks, in today's episode, I used an unusual app to find items for my reselling business that may or may not be much of a secret to some of you, but for me, I never even thought of it. I used an app called Nextdoor. And if any of you know what this app is, if you're in a fairly densely populated area, then this application is probably something that exists. Whereas for some of the more rural areas or smaller towns, this might not be something that actually is a thing. For those of you who have used the app and for those of you who have turned off the app are probably doing that for the same reasons I stopped using it, is because the app was really just a way for people to just scream a lot about their neighbors. And I just really didn't want to do that. But over the years, the app has actually kind of expanded into what's called finds. And finds is an area in the app where you can post things locally and hopefully, you can strike up a deal with someone. And in this instance, I was looking around at the app and I actually came across a huge lot of vintage models. And when I reached out to the seller, it was pretty smooth. There was a message system on the app. She responded to me. For me, it was really smooth. I reached out to the seller. She got back to me within a day. We arranged a pickup and we settled on a price pretty quickly. It was really fair for both of us. Fair for her because I don't think she ever intended to get as much as I offered her, but fair for me because I definitely plan to make really good profit on something like this. I will say this is not necessarily a PSA for using Nextdoor. I'm not gonna say that, but it was just another place, another source to find items for your reselling business. So vintage models, collectibles, hobby type items, that is what you're gonna see in this episode. And of course, there was the slight possibility of video games. I'm not gonna tease it too much, but we might have uncovered a whale in the future. Can't say for certain we're gonna get a call back. Enjoy. What's going on, guys? So I've got an interesting one today where I'm actually heading up to a spot in North Long Beach, and it's a pickup of items that are, yes, vintage, but are items for your reselling business that are just, it's the long game. Some of these items will sell super quick, but a lot of these items are probably gonna take, 6 months to sell. And some of you might be thinking, well, is that what you're trying to accomplish? We're in August. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you know what? We're that far ahead of Christmas, and those slower selling items should really start to pick up as we get closer to Christmas. I'm going to pay $650 for a vintage model lot. Now, I'm gonna show you guys some footage of a lot I picked up, how many months ago was it? It was probably last fall sometime, where I bought a huge lot of vintage models, and I actually did pretty well on them. And I made all of my money back within the first couple of weeks. So I'm banking on the fact that as you look at some of this footage that you're seeing some of the models that are in there that are gonna be worth pretty decent money, and I'm hoping I'm gonna get my money back really quick, and while the long game plays out, I'm gonna pick up all of the profit between now and Christmas. You're gonna see me head up there, we're gonna see what we have. I'm always gonna ask if you get into someone's environment, hey, you got anything else that's vintage? The chances are slim, but we're gonna ask anyway. I'm gonna bring the GoPro, hopefully they aren't uncomfortable, I am gonna ask ahead of time, and we're gonna see an epic lot of vintage models. Okay, yeah, well, I do a lot of that kind of buying.
Oh, I was curious if you were like a store that sold.
Some of it I might resell. It just really depends, but I like vintage toys a lot, and video games. I was anxious to kind of just look through a few of them, and there were definitely...
He had a lot when we lived in Germany. And then
you lived in Germany?
Well, my husband was in the army, retired army.
Oh, wow.
So we lived in Germany a couple times. So
that's really cool.
Some of the Tamias, if there's Tamias, we got when we lived there.
I gotcha.
But he just I would say the last year or so, he got back into models.
Uh-huh.
And
Well,
just
of course.
kept buying. And
Yeah.
I was like, where are we gonna put these? Because what he did built is sitting over there, some of it. So I'm gonna keep a few
Absolutely.
things.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like
Yeah.
he built this model table.
Yep.
I mean, it's actually left the way he left it.
Just the way he left
I don't
it.
know what I'm gonna do with that yet.
Sure.
You know.
Well, and I wouldn't want it. Would any of these be included? I wasn't going to assume any of that.
And I was looking through there because I thought whoops.
Oh, you okay?
This one looks like it was missing, but he wrote
Missing polycaps.
I don't know
Okay.
what that is, and then he put incomplete build with something didn't come.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And
Well-
this I thought, oh,
I don't even know
you
what
have to
that
put the
is.
tool away.
It's actually something that
A
you.
drill that you would use for models,
Very cool.
but it has to be built.
Oh, and there's the there's the Wii.
Yes.
My gosh, that's so
And
that's so
it
interesting.
hasn't been used in a long time. But my daughter's the one that bought it for him, so I need
Oh,
to check
yeah.
with her first.
Yeah, no,
But I
absolutely.
can keep your
You've got my number.
email there.
You've got my number. So.
Yeah.
And I'd be lying if I said I don't see a Betamax player, and I
There is
imagine
one.
you probably want to keep
There
that
is one,
too.
Beta.
Are you interested
Is it the
in
one at the
selling
top yet?
selling that?
Maybe we had in beta and it wasn't working. I said he took it and the guy exchanged
Okay.
because we have beta tapes that we had recorded.
My mom and my dad both worked at the in Iowa, Fort Dodge Public School System, and they were able to get reel-to-reel players anytime they wanted. And the public library there had the reel-to-reels, and my mom started me off on the Star Trek series, reel-to-reel. And I was really into it, obviously. And then it was pretty shortly after that, like you just said, you could rent. It was in a big blue case.
Yes.
Padded blue case.
Yes.
You'd bring that thing home, and again, short time after that, the price of a VCR. I don't think we ever had a Betamax. We might have had one for a short time, but I think
there's a VCR underneath it.
Yeah, the
That's what
VCR
all these
became-
VHS tapes.
yeah, the VCR became so much more popular. This looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll pay you $6.50. I think that was a really fair price.
Big ones, are at least $15. And then I, got you offered $6. Now let me think about it a little bit. And then I thought, what am I going to do with these?
Sure. I thought I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was thinking if I could. Because I counted, I assumed there were close to 70 or 60 of them.
Something like that.
So I was assuming in that space, if they were 10 or 15 bucks a piece,
Yeah.
roughly, I could be
And then
pretty
I had
close.
A couple weeds out there.
Oh, is that right?
But it's
Oh,
my
that's-
daughter that I need to check with. But it's just sitting.
Sure.
It's not getting used, so I will check with her.
Yeah. What are the chances you guys have even some of the older stuff than that? Like that, even like the original Nintendo?
What have I got sitting back there? It's a
Sega Genesis even. There's the Nintendo.
It's a gray one where it's round and it opened up.
Yeah, that's the NES. That's one of the greatest.
Not a Nintendo. It wasn't a Nintendo.
It was.
If you want to come see it.
Yeah, let's take. I would love to. This is the kind of stuff that I get excited about. I mean, you've even you got a couple you've got the
See,
two
this
of
is it's all my daughter. That's what I would have to talk to her. I know it's in one of these drawers.
Oh, this is such a cool room.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And there's
Probably a bunch of games maybe somewhere.
probably
Oh, they're right up there. Right behind that the Cal State Long Beach cap.
oh.
See them right? Yeah, there's at least a few right up there. Yeah, absolutely. Look at that. Well, if there's an interest there, I mean, I even see the Rock Band stuff down there. If your daughter has any interest,
We don't have the drum set anymore because I got rid of that.
Oh,
Our
that-
dog got a hold of the one. I'll check with her because she's the one that
Sure.
that bought those. Check with her and then we'll tell her because I know she uses the PlayStation. I know when we do
like movies and things of that nature.
that and what do you call it? The Netflix thing
Yeah.
or something like that.
Netflix
she
is
does.
great. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna count this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 600.
Okay.
1, 2, and then there's 50.
Okay. Thank you.
And I am gonna.
I will help. I won't make you take that all out.
I think probably the easiest way to do it would be. You don't have any boxes. If you didn't, that's perfectly fine.
No.
That's cool. That's no problem.
I have a box out there, but it's models that my husband finished that I'm
Yeah.
probably going to donate to that museum.
Understood.
There it is, folks. That's all of it. So that deal for the models couldn't have gone any smoother. It was so sweet. Plus, she had a ridiculous amount of video games. Most of it was probably PS1 and newer, but I mean, some of the titles that I saw, I'm not sure if I captured any of it on camera. A lot of Mario titles, and I'm good with Mario. So at this point in time, I'm hoping maybe in the next couple of weeks she might give me a call back. You know, the expectation you'll get a call back on these things is usually pretty slim, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, on the way back to the warehouse, I see a sign for an estate sale in one of the nicest areas of Long Beach, and I can't help myself but say, all right, well, we're definitely gonna go check it out. The only problem I'm having right now is that I actually can't find it. So it leads me into this sort of gated community, but as far as where it's at in this gated community, the signs just kind of stopped. So I'm sort of aimlessly driving around, I guess. I don't mind driving around in this neighborhood because these houses are gorgeous. Anyway, so little extra footage here of an estate sale if I can find it.
Well, it looks like stuff for the rotisserie, right?
Yeah.
Hey there, got a question for you.
Yes.
How much is the TV?
I can ask for you right quick.
I appreciate it.
You grab that plug right there.
I got it. See what we're dealing with. We got even a remote right here too.
Okay.
Give this
There you
a go.
go. I don't know if there's batteries in there or not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
But
Maybe.
power always works, brother.
been a little while.
There you go. Wait, can you just vibe on this? It's fine. Let me try to do.
I just want to say,
Excuse me?
let's say,
1 second.
And I bought the TV. So here's the reason why I bought that TV. So there's a huge market in Southern California, the local market for selling the right stuff, yeah? But if you're selling like a common video game that you can get anywhere, chances are you're probably not gonna sell that. But I have had really good success selling these CRT TVs, Toshiba brand, Sony brand. I think I've stayed away from any other brand, pretty much stuck to just those two. And it's been really simple. The first one I sold, I think it sold within like a couple of weeks. I got a lot of hits and you can sell them for really good money. I paid 10 bucks for this. The DVD player does not eject. The VCR does. That's kind of a bonus. So I would say that I think it's pretty reasonable to expect $100 on that item. I might even go like 150 in the listing and hope to get 100 bucks, but it's gonna take a little bit of space in my warehouse, but I do expect to sell it super quick. The rest of the sale was kind of it was really, really nice. I mean, really nice. There wasn't anything in there that was really for me or for my reselling business. I mean, granted, some of the electronics were pretty nice, but they were way overpriced, and I can find the exact same items at a thrift store and pay a fraction of the price. But for me, that TV was all we took, and I'm happy with that. It's been 2 days. I was able to score all of these models, and I think I talked about exactly how I want to sell those. What I'm gonna do right now is look up the high dollar items, the individual units where there's, huge profit there. I'm gonna list those first, and then I'll probably get to the remaining smaller line items a little bit later. And then I also need to take time to put together things like sandbags. Take these, put them into one lot and sell that all together. You're gonna see me right now looking through these and trying to find the big scores, because that's really what I wanna hyper focus on. I wanna get my money back right away, and then the rest of this is inventory as we move into Christmas time. All right, so that actually didn't take long at all. It took probably like 15 minutes to get through everything. Some of them didn't have SKUs on them, which is pretty common for models that are a little bit older. I think anything like prior to 1990, they just didn't have SKUs. And there's probably someone out there who knows a little bit more about that than I do. I used to put models together when I was a kid. I liked it. So there's a little bit of the enthusiast in me that kind of part of the reason I go after some of this stuff. I think a lot of you guys might pass up on models, but when I go to a thrift store, I see models sitting there for like $2.99. I find these to be, reasonable sales, and, saying like a 2 to 3 month timetable for some of this, I feel like is fairly reasonable. It does take up a little bit of space, so a big purchase like this may not be for everyone. For me, it's not too bad because I have the space for this. I'm gonna show you what the numbers are gonna look like even before I get into anything that's worth below 30 bucks. So this box right here represents about $200, close to $200, and about 75 to 100. So if I was to go on the low side and say between the two of these, that was like 300 and maybe 350 on that, that's already over half of what I paid. I paid $650 for everything. Everything else, so I'm gonna go on average and I'm gonna show you all these 3 boxes. So these models here, these here, including these 3 smaller ones in my hand here, and then those 4 there. They all range between $30 all the way up to $75. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a price tag of, on average, $40 take home. So I'm gonna say if I can get 35 to 40 bucks a model. Let's do the math. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Let's just call it 30 at 40 bucks a piece. That's $1,200 in sales right there, plus the $350. That gets me around $1,500 in just these 4 boxes here. And then I have everything else that's here. These are mostly smaller figures or little model sets. Top one here says field maintenance yard. They're kind of like action sets. All of this, these are basically $25 or less. And there's quite a few of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 there, all of that. Plus these 2 were a little more vintage. I need to look these up. I think these might be worth in the 50 range, I'm guessing. But I would say this stack here, I'm probably guessing is gonna be worth around like 200 bucks, maybe a little bit more. The Tamiya lot right there, which I'm probably gonna put all of that together, I'm guessing that's gonna be around 200 bucks. I'll probably figure out what to do with all these testers, these models here. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna break them up, but I would guess maybe 50 to 100 bucks there, and then these 2 here, who knows. But I would say this entire lot is gonna be close to $2 grand when everything is all said and done. And that's exactly why I did it. The advantage I have though in doing something like this is I have space, and not everyone, like I said, has that ability. But if you do, I think models are such a great way to make sales. They're super lightweight. As far as packaging them up, that's a question that I've been asked before. Honestly, you can't really get away with putting them inside a padded envelope.
No way!
Because they get crushed really easily. So you can invest in certain types of boxes that are a little bit thinner, wider, longer. They're still super lightweight. You're probably not gonna have any models that are gonna be over 2 pounds, and a lot of them will be under a pound, which means that many of them you can do first class. Most of them are gonna be under 2 pounds, which means your shipping is gonna be probably no more than 11 bucks. Just pass that on to the buyer. There's gonna be huge profit here. It's gonna take a little while, but honestly, to get 3 times my money, no brainer. Oh, and by the way, for any of you who are wondering about this, it is fantastic. I am like seriously considering putting this up in the office just because of how vibrant it is. I think the Sony I have up there is really solid, but this plays VHS and it does have a DVD player that does not work. But I'm gonna list this today and we'll see how many hits I get on this, but I'm guessing for something like this, I'm gonna get close to 100 to 150, and I bet you I sell it within a week. And folks, that was today's episode. I honestly think I'm gonna profit anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 on this lot, and some of you might say, you're never gonna sell all those. It's possible, but I think some of the slower selling items, I'm gonna lot them together and I'm gonna sell them in a big group, and I think that will help. Now, some of you out there who have sold models before know that there are different types that sell pretty well. Some of the science fiction type stuff that's a little bit more vintage, that stuff sold for me really fast. I'm talking like really fast. Things like this where there's a fairly decent supply of them, I think you just have to be able to hit the right number, but eBay is absolutely a great place to sell these types of items because a lot of buyers who are interested in the hobby are looking at a place like eBay to see the variety of options that they have out there. And that's exactly why I'm gonna be using eBay and why I think I have a pretty good chance to sell the majority of these before Christmas time. So in the end, I think I'm gonna profit pretty well on this, and I hope some of you will enjoy the variety and just sort of a little bit of a different type of purchase out there. So with all that said, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like it, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. If you wanna become a subscriber, which many of you who are watching my content are not subscribers, and I'm surprised by that, make sure you become a subscriber. And if you're a reseller, I hope your sales are picking up by now. And if you're just a passive viewer, I hope you're enjoying the content. And folks, thank you guys for watching. See you later this week. Take care.